What do you think?
I think 6 years old is too young, but I do think that a lot of mothers, especially single mothers who don't have a sort of strong network of support, people who can step in, do have to struggle with this, and it's a question of when, isn't it? And we all struggle with it. I think I stopped physically taking my older boys, who were twins, to school when they were about 9 or 10, and they walked. It was a very easy little walk to school. They'd just crossed a corner of a park with loads of other children. I was lucky.
And they were together.
And they were together. Yeah. Now, I think every parent has to kind of have this conversation with themselves, really, about when is it time to let them do things on their own. 6, I think, is too young. I always remember, talking about this earlier, I always remember there was a journalist, a wonderful columnist in The Observer, it was, about, I don't know, in the 60s and 70s, Catherine Whitehorn, who said, as a mother, she always used to think to herself, in any given circumstance, about her children, what would the coroner say? And actually, I know it's a very, very good guideline, actually, to focus in mind.
Actually. I have that in my head as a journalist. I always think, how would this play out if I was writing the story?
But you've got to be careful you don't become so paranoid that
No, but I think 6 is too young. My 10-year-old's just started walking to school on her own with a friend, which the school says is permissible as long as they're with a friend. But my husband, how he hasn't been picked up yet, sort of creeps along behind them, sort of jumping out of bushes and things like that.
But how young is too young then? Because, you know, they're saying here it's really there's no legal.
I mean, she got caught out because I think a nurse turned up to give a vaccination and they answered the door, so nothing actually went wrong as such. But for me, it would just be that fear of maybe something would happen to me when I was out, and then they'd be there and nothing, or they a fire might start.
But, you know, they're saying it's at the discretion of the parents. Now, we all know some very responsible, sensible 7- and 8-year-olds, and we know some very irresponsible, stupid 14-year-olds. So it's down to the parents' discretion.
In my head, I have 14, as I thought there was a strict law that they couldn't be, and I was quite surprised when I read it. It is very vague.
Well, I've just started doing it with Jack. He'll be 13 in February. I don't like it. I don't go very far. I'm never comfortable when I'm out. I do think, like you, my head starts spinning in all the worst-case scenarios. So he's walking down the stairs and he tripped on his shoelace and cracked his head open on the floor. And Eamon says to me, for God's sake...
You'll still be thinking that when he's 21.
Well, I was just going to say, I've just started doing that now. But, I mean, he's 26 in December. And I feel the time is right.
When did you leave? When did you leave? I mean, Kira, do you leave ever on her own, or...?
Kira's 13 and she's just started to crave a bit of independence, which is spending a couple of hours, you know, in the local town with her local group of mates. Yeah, local pub. She's fine. So, yes, and I've just started doing that, but Ray is the opposite of me, because I feel it's important to make her a bit more streetwise, show her that she is getting a bit more independent, but at the same time, he's like, I do lie to him.
Oh, but let's hope he's not watching.
He's not watching, he's away.
The police use something called the Gillick principle, don't they, where they, after the lady Victoria Gillick, and it's really about assessing, they try and assess whether a child is mentally, so some 13-year-olds are very mature, some aren't, and whether they were mentally capable to assess what was happening to them at the time. I think as a parent, maybe you kind of apply a bit of that yourself.
Well,
you sort of judge whether your child is.
But I wouldn't leave her for hours, even though she is quite sensible. Certainly not 6 ever, even for 10 minutes would I leave a 6-year-old on its own. But, you know, at 13, maybe, I don't know.